Hi Jim, I'm going to pay for your time, so this video will accompany an email and we can do it in half-hour increments. So this is my listening room and it's adjacent to the living room. I made a mistake when we moved into this house a couple of years ago because we bought it under construction, and at the time it had been framed in, but I've never built a custom listening room, and I made a mistake by not doing certain things like sistering the 2x12 floor joists to stiffen up the floor. I should have had a dedicated 20 amp circuit pulled into the room, at least for the wall where the components are plugged in. I could have hung double sheetrock. Falls under the case of I wish I had known then what I know now. But so it goes. I have the option of another room downstairs that's 14 by 24. It's carpet over slab, carpet and padding over slab, but it's a much less convenient room. I have to go out the front door, across the front porch, down the stairs, into a separate outside entrance. And if I do that and move the stereo and my computer workstation down there, my wife won't see me a lot of the time, and then she'll change the locks and I'll have to live in that downstairs room with my stereo. So, and I'm only half kidding. So this room is much more convenient to pop in and listen to music, whether it's on speakers or headphones, and to go to the kitchen, and basically it's on the main living level of the house. I'm gonna sit down in the listening chair here, and as you can see, I have your book, and I have read about half of it, and I'm going to start at the beginning and work through it and make notes. Here's the room panning from left to right. So, and I've moved some things out. A lot of stuff. I am going to move this bookcase over here to the left so that I can put tube traps in the corner or some kind of base remedy, base treatment. These are Vandersteen 2CE Mark IIIs, the latest version. They replaced an original pair of Vandersteen 2s. My system died simultaneously a few years ago. My McCormick DNA 1 amp died, and then my CD player. So I ended up replacing most everything, and then I got the speakers recently. So my amp, Odyssey Audio Cartago +++, his top version, the Kismet version. Not a terribly expensive amp, but well reviewed by some. The DAC preamp headphone amp is an Alchemy, Audio Alchemy DDP-1. And I've been happy with it. It got well reviewed by Robert Harley, and I know I take reviews with a grain of salt. But he liked it, and I got it at quite a discount as they were being closed out about 3 years ago. And then the CD player is a Riga Apollo 2, which I like very much, like the form factor, and it's for $1,000 it seems like good. So pretty modest system, you know. I've got about 10 grand in it all told, and I'm making changes. My streamer is a small green computer Roon server with a micro Rendu streamer and power supply. So I'm streaming Roon into the USB port on the DAC preamp. And I'm going to make some gear changes. I know you don't make gear recommendations, but I will tell you in the email what I'm thinking. Let me go back to the wide angle view. So this room is 10.5 feet wide by 15 feet long, and I've got the speakers obviously on the long wall. And I've used the they're about 24 inches out from the tweeter, I think, 18 to 24. I've used Vandersteen's placement method in his manual, and He does offer multiple suggestions in terms of placement, but I've always used his placement guide. I've just started experimenting with toe in. I had the speakers square to the listening position or square to the walls, and then started towing them in a little bit, somewhere between 3 and 6 inches from square on the inside edge. And I don't hear a huge difference. Your trained ears probably are much more capable of detecting nuances. I feel like I'm inept or not as skilled as I should be in detecting these subtle changes, but I'm learning, and I've been an audiophile for a very long time. But when I say that, mostly I had the same system for a long time because I was raising a kid as a single dad and didn't have the budget to make a lot of changes, and I was happy with what I had. And mostly I'm interested in listening to the music, but then I fall down the rabbit hole of upgrading my system and the what ifs and dreaming about ideal systems, and of course I get sucked into getting on that treadmill where you're always chasing nirvana and can't quite get there. I am far from nirvana in terms of what's capable or available in the high end. But I would like to maximize my dollar. And I know from reading your book that the biggest bang for the buck I'm going to get is setting up my system, speaker placement, room tuning particularly. You'll see that this bookcase is going to be moved to the left. This CD rack is going to be gone. I have CD rack over here, which everything's going to go on there and get organized, and I'm going to start ripping my discs to my Rune server and then archive the discs mostly. Although I may keep them organized and play discs on the CD player, but I've gotten lazy. I'm all digital, haven't had a turntable in a long time. Won't have one unless I end up with a bunch more money and I can afford to have somebody help set up an analog system and acquire the software at $25 a record. So right now, streaming is it. Cables, I'm running mostly the older cables that I've had for a long time, AudioQuest. I did go for a decent USB cable to hook up the streamer to the DAC preamp. So that's it. I really am looking forward to getting some ideas from you. I think I have problems with bass loading because it's a small room, so I'm thinking about tube traps or some kind of bass treatment in the corners on the front wall. I know, according to your book, my rack is not where it should be. I don't really think I have an option. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know if I have an option to put the speakers on the long wall. I've got my computer workstation in the corner of this room, and hopefully that helps to break up reflections and that sort of thing. I don't really have another place to put it unless I move everything downstairs, which is a lot less convenient. But I could do tube traps. I'm going to turn around 180 and you can see the listening seat. It's up against the wall. So almost. So I need to do something about treating reflections behind me. I can go for a bigger rug, although I don't seem to be getting much floor bounce from the listening chair, and I haven't treated the ceiling at all. So this is what I'm looking for, is guidance on improving that. Back to the rack. My amp is not balanced, so I don't really have the luxury of running long RCA interconnects to move the rack. And as you can see, I don't have a lot of places to put the rack other than right in the middle. Now I could get a low profile rack, more horizontal. So I don't know what to do about that. If I had balanced connections out of the amp, then I could move the rack maybe off to the left here, over here, and but it's not a balanced amp. Was thinking about going monoblocks, but haven't settled on an affordable pair of monoblocks yet, so I may go for a mono amp. Was actually interested in the integrated amp that you apparently have, the Past Labs Integrated 60, but I'm probably going to stay with separates because, as I'll say in my email, there's a particular tube preamp headphone amp that I want, or that I think I want, though I've never heard it. So I am going to send you a long email with lots of information, and I'll attach this video. It's going to be uploaded to YouTube, so it'll be a link. And maybe we can start there. I wonder if there's anything else I should include here. So that bookcase will go to the left. I'll have room to put tube traps there. I can put treatments on the wall behind the speakers, behind the rack. First order reflections. I do have this window issue over here. I don't know if I would treat reflections here, or maybe get another set of mini blinds or something to treat reflections there. You know, I have, you know, I'm not opposed to spending $1,000 or $2,000 on room treatment stuff. And then I want to dive into, because it makes total sense to me that spending the $5,000 that I'm interested in spending on a new preamp and a new DAC, I'm foolish to do that before I get my room treatments in order and get the best out of what I have as far as speaker placement and taming the room, and then think about upgrades. It's so tempting to go for hardware first, but I know that's not the right way to go. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate you and your help and working together. All right, if I had the dough, I would fly you to Seattle once COVID's over and pay you by the day to help me sort this out. It's a bit daunting. I look at your book and it's a product of years of knowledge. All your tips are wonderful, but quite honestly, not having done this on a highly technical level before, or technical level, it's daunting. It's like trying to teach yourself to cook or something. And for you, you can walk into a room and it automatically, you know exactly what needs to be done, at least on a fundamental level. And for me, it's all new in terms of room treatments and that sort of thing. Okay, thank you. My name's Patrick Downs, by the way, and my phone number is 406-671-3602. Sorry for the shaky camera.